What's up YouTube? It's Mossy here, and today we're going to be going over all the changes in 13.11 for Ivern. Now, this is a giant patch for Ivern. It looks like Riot kind of felt a little bit guilty for getting rid of all of those extra fun toys in the mid-season update, and so they've decided to just pump out a bunch of buffs instead. Nobody really asked for it, nobody really knows why, but I think on this patch you'll find Ivern's going to be pick banned in a lot more games than you're used to. So without further ado, let's jump into the patch notes. Here's a quick summary of all of the different changes here. Ivern: Q follow-up adjusted, cast range increased, now refunds cooldown when used on non-epic monsters. W adjusted, on hit damage. Vision increased, bush despawn conditions changed, E-shield refreshes if no enemies were hit by the detonation, Daisy stats adjusted, slam damage increased. So you can read a lot into that, but obviously that is saying buffs, 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 buffs. Let's talk about it. Q, jump for joy. Ivern can now recast Q to jump directly to the target, while Ivern and allies can issue an attack command to move their auto attack range distance away from the target. So this is really interesting because Ivern players have been asking for quality of life buffs on the Q for a while. It was always so annoying when you're auto attacking and all of a sudden you go into melee range. So people were auto-attacking the ground beside Ivern, but all of that has changed because now you can just hit Q again and jump directly on top of the target. But there's a caveat here, okay? If you issue an attack command, you're only going to move into your attack range. Since Ivern is now ranged, they've changed it so you can keep attacking without fully committing onto the champion, which is great. That's exactly what we've been asking for. The into melee range, however, has a weird change where before, if you jumped to the target, you would have a 125 range buffer between you and the target, right? Now, if you double cast Q to jump directly to the target, they got rid of that 125 buffer range. So you jump directly on top of the target. What does this mean? This means it takes longer for your Q animation to complete, leaving you more vulnerable. It also means you're going to fly farther. So if the enemy champion uses a dash ability in the other direction, for example, you're going to fly right by, and all of a sudden your chase down has turned into they've kind of looped around you, and you're going to have trouble keeping up with them in that regard. So it's both good and bad. It's going to pull you farther. So if you're not expecting that, it's going to definitely cause you to maybe misposition a little bit more than you would have. But overall, I really like the change. I've always been asking for the double Q. Okay, extra 50 on the cast range is huge because now you can go from the red buff to the raptors. You can also go from the wolves to the blue. It's going to just help you swing around the jungle a lot more, especially with this other change. Q cooldown is now reduced by 50% when used on non-epic monsters. This is crazy. This is huge. This is wild. Instead of early game having like a 12-second Q every time you're going to go through, it's going to be cut down to 6. It's going to be cut down to 5. And you could basically Q to every single camp. Like, you never need to walk around walls again. Other than maybe on your first clear, you might only want to use 2 Qs because of mana or whatever. But overall, I personally love the Q changes. I love it. I think it's perfect. This is the example of a quality of life quote unquote buff that isn't overpowered and that doesn't ruin the game in a lot of cases, but will still positively impact how Ivern feels to play without making him crazy way too strong, if you know what I mean. Like, sometimes Riot, when they're buffing stuff, they just decide, fuck it, just give them the kitchen sink and we'll dial it back later. I don't think they did that with the Q here. I think it's very calculated, and I actually really like the Q change. Now, the W change is a whole new matter, okay? The W change is wild, and it changes lane Ivern, it changes jungle Ivern. It makes on-hit Ivern like somewhat viable for some reason. Like, it's wild. So what did they do here? Redefining Death Bush. Brushmaker's passive bonus magic damage on hit while exiting the brush for 3 seconds now applies to ally champions. So a little bit of extra on hit damage to your champions, adding more utility to the Brushmaker. to the Brushmaker skill, giving it a little bit more useful scenarios, which is fine. I actually think this is a fine change. Put a little bit of power into Ivern's kit, fine. Helps with support Ivern, helping your AD carry, etc., etc. Trading in the 2v2s, all that kind of fun stuff. 10% of Ivern's AP is the on-hit damage, promoting an AP-oriented Ivern, which I love personally. Great, fine change. Now, this one is way too powerful, and I don't know why they did this. Brush spawn vision duration, 3 seconds to 8 seconds. Nobody really asked for this. This is really OP. This helps you like check all the trouble spots before any objective. It's really, really, really strong, and I'm not sure why they did this, but super, super, super powerful. Like, up the power so much there. Now, bush duration, 30 seconds up to a maximum of 45 seconds, or until your team loses vision inside of them. This hurts lane Ivern quite a bit. You're not able to weave in and out of the bush when you're poking or when you're trying to farm in the minions without getting traded on. Plus, the ally on hit damage or Ivern's W damage when he's autoing from the bush is delayed because there's a new animation down here it shows. So even if you're standing in the bush and that delayed damage happens, you're in the bush, but you're visible to the enemy laner. So this really, really hurts lane Ivern quite a bit, I think. This also hurts like trick plays, setting up bushes in mid lane for your laners to weave in and out of when you're jungle Ivern, walling off different vision points on the map while sneaking around to other spots. Like, there's a lot less mind games you can play with this type of choice. Even if you're in a 1v1 in the jungle and you put the bushes up and you're in there, you're autoing, you're weaving in and out, you're trying to use them as like a vision play. When you step outside of them, they just kind of disappear. And so if you lose vision of them, then you can't use them again, and that kind of hurts you. But the crazy thing is, it doesn't show it here, but they changed how quickly they refresh. So they made them very spammable. I'm not sure if I can find where they did that. Maybe they did that last patch. Anyways, the cooldown to put a bush down and to have those 3 charges reloaded is greatly decreased. So it's more of like a spam. You don't really have to have like any type of skill thinking about when to use the bush. You just kind of always use them. I don't know why it doesn't show it here though. So that's kind of interesting. Okay, I'll try and find it a little bit later. Maybe I'll tack it onto the end of this video. Okay, E, Triggerseed, change. If when the shield detonates, there are no enemies that are hit by the detonation and the shield has not been broken, the duration of the shield is renewed. This is way too strong. This is a very strong change. Again, I'm not sure why Riot did this. I'm not sure if this was necessary at all. So I don't understand this, but what this is supposed to help is, one, taking neutral objectives like Baron and Dragon. This makes you much more tanky and able to do those kind of objectives without losing too much of your health. 2, helping ranged carries kiting, making sure that they're always kind of protected and topped up for a longer period of time, right? Because think about in any game, your shield becomes a 3 to 5 second cooldown. By the time the second shield detonates, you're already reapplying the shield. So if your carries are kiting effectively, you can essentially just perma shield them, and I'm not really sure why Riot thinks that that's like super, super good, but it's just very, very strange to me. Like, I'm not sure why Riot wanted that in the game, I guess is what I mean to say, because it seems very, very strong to me. Now, the things that we have to test out are, does the second shield apply things like Ardent Sensor, Staff of Flowing Water effects again? I think it does. That's my guess. That would be my inclination to think about that. But I don't think the second shield, when it pops, slows enemies. I'm not sure about that, but I don't think so. So this is an interesting one that we are going to have to test out, but it seems way too strong right now. All right, let's talk Daisy. Let's talk Daisy a little bit. Let's talk Daisy. So Daisy, attack range 125 to 175. Huge buff. Huge buff. You've had it before where Daisy cancels autos. This is going to really help that. This is really going to help those niche spots where Daisy will stop canceling autos quite so often. Daisy HP regen, 0 to 2.5 health per second. I don't know if you guys were around in season 6, but when Ivern was first released, Daisy had like a lot of health regen, and it was the most broken thing of all time because you'd send Daisy in, she would do her magic, you'd pull her out, she'd get full health again, and you'd just send her back in, and she was so wild. So this is a huge buff, and this is probably like, again, maybe too strong, not sure. We'll have to see how it feels in the game. Daisy movement speed 420 to 440, crazy good. Very strong buff, very strong buff. Daisy attack speed. Also, this should also help with Daisy canceling autos. Daisy's pretty buggy in the best of times, but these two things will definitely help that. Daisy bonus attack speed. So this is a little bit of a nerf at the highest level here. About 10 bonus attack speed lower. Fine, doesn't really matter. All right, Daisy slam damage, 100% of Daisy's AD plus 20% AP to 40, 60, 80 plus 100% of Daisy's AD plus 20% of the AP. So honestly, definitely, I mean, it's all the same variables here. You're just getting extra 80 damage at rank 3. For most of the game, you're going to be 11 to 13, 11 to 14, 11 to 15. So you'll be getting that extra 60. So extra damage here, health regen, movement speed is crazy. Like Daisy just got a big super buff, and that's really, really interesting. So let's recap. Let's recap a little bit. So plus quality of life on Q. We got plus cast range of Q. We got plus Q cooldown on monsters. We got plus on hit damage on W, plus lower W cooldown, plus increased W vision. I'm gonna say minus bush leaves when no vision. I think that's a minus personally. So this is for teammates. We got plus double shield for kiting, double shield for Baron, drag, plus double shield item application, plus Daisy attack speed and range. Wow, I'm good at typing. Oh my god. So you guys are already seeing the picture here. There's a lot of power in the kit now. Daisy health regen plus Daisy movement speed plus Daisy slam damage. I don't know, chat. I don't know. Look at this. Look at this. This is a lot of pluses, not a lot of negatives. A lot of pluses here, chat. All right, so theoretically, Ivern should be as strong as he's ever been. Wait, what if we go lull analytics? Let's see what Ivern's at right now. This patch. 54. Okay. So this is way too high. This is way too high, chat. Ivern needs to be 49 to 51. Anything other than that, he's too good. He's too good. This is too strong. Because think of it. Think of the one tricks, man. Look at the Ivern win rates here. Look at this Ivern win rates for the last few days. Look, it's just spiked. June 3rd, his win rate's 55%. Look at the pick rate. Look at all you filthy casuals playing Ivern now that you have a... Chad, don't forget, I played Ivern before it was cool, alright? I played Ivern before it was cool. Let's look at the items real quick here. 61% on Night Harvester, not shocking. I tried the new Moonstone. It seems still pretty dog. Wait, Rod of Ages being 54% seems pretty high to me. That seems high. I might have to try that out. Strong against. Weak against. Damn, Rengar. That's rough, eh?
Scuttles, you're a gentle crab.